I started Glia's around 3 years ago by now. It was at Texas Tech while I was a grad student at Francis Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. So that was our first spot. 9 months after being open, we were informed that this place had some spots available. And it kind of comports with our business model of being close to students. So the pharmacy school is here, the speech language pathology program, the physical therapy program used to also be here, but I think they moved recently. So again, our business model is premised on being close to students and people that want their caffeine. It made perfect sense to be right in front of them. And then behind us, we have the EP50 main office. Lots of people there that also need their caffeine. So really trying to stick with what helped us be successful with our coffee trailer and emulating that just on a larger scale. Businesses, they use that word, they throw that word around quite a bit, scaling. My understanding of that is you want to increase your revenue without increasing necessarily your overhead costs or your resources. So potentiating how much money you're making. That's a very reductive way to explain it, but that's been my goal from the beginning. As I mentioned, we have the APIC here. They oversee all the schools in that district. We're conveniently located in central El Paso. If you zoom that way, you'll see the courthouse, which is where we have our other location. So it's pretty cool that you can literally see the building from Glia's 2. You can see like the Glia's 3 and where we're at, which is in the Enrique Moreno County Courthouse. So we share this space. We're inside a food hall, and the common area we shared with other businesses. So we don't have much control over that as far as like the aesthetics or like how it's arranged. But what we do control is obviously our menu, everything that is in our dedicated space. So we can go ahead and check that out now. Restaurant etiquette to knock before you open the door, in case there's someone behind it. So this is the front of house with the coffee bar area. Really standard build outs that you would see in a regular coffee shop. We have our espresso machine, our espresso grinder, pug press, quin spin. Best purchase we've had lately is this beautiful oven. So now we're baking almost everything in-house. We are introducing donuts starting tomorrow actually. So this is our first batch. The chocolate abuelita donuts, which is in the dough, but also on the glaze and on top. So chocolate abuelita squared or cubed donuts. Testing some biscuits for some Glia sandwiches that we have. Got some carrot cake, some strawberry matcha cookies. This is probably our most popular drink, the strawberry matcha, so we made it into a cookie.
My name is Megan, and I'm drinking a café de olla with regular milk.
Do you frequently come here to Glia's?
Yeah, I do actually, because I'm a student at Utah, so I'm always coming here. Yeah.
And what is your experience like here at Glia's?
I love it. It's such a welcoming environment. They're always so nice to me, and I have my rewards, so yeah, I really love it.
Do you have a go-to drink?
Yeah, it's either like the vanilla iced latte or this one.
Originally, you were going to med school, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to become a doctor. That's your end goal. And the coffee shop just kind of came about, right?
It did. So born in Juarez, raised in Juarez and El Paso. I moved back and forth around 16 times by the time I was 15.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like the textbook definition of a Tex-Mex kid.
Yeah.
That's how I like describing my upbringing. And I've always wanted to be a physician. It's in my, like, I can't conceptualize being alive or continue existing and not being a physician. That's just something that is fulfilling intrinsically for me. And as you mentioned, the business was a bit of a serendipity and a lot of hard work that went into it, but it wasn't necessarily planned as like something to have the outcome that we eventually achieved.
Hmm.
So I was in grad school at Texas Tech Health, El Paso, and there was like a gap in the market for coffee shops. There weren't any nearby coffee shops, so there was this abandoned strip mall,
Hmm.
and I just hit up the owner. Can I set something up here? And like a few months later, started planning, looking into all the equipment, how to start a business, because there's a world of information to even just start it,
Yeah.
let alone keep it afloat. So yeah, that's a very short version of it.
And you started off in a truck essentially, right? It was
Yeah.
like a pop-up truck.
Yep. So the idea was I wanted a brick and mortar
Hmm.
that was in front of campus, because this campus that I mentioned, there's a dental school, a medical school, nursing school, graduate school, and then there's UMC. So I thought, as a business idea, like, what better way to have a coffee shop right across campus?
Right.
As I mentioned, I've always wanted to be a physician. So coffee truck or a trailer versus like a store, it's much easier to manage a store.
Hmm.
Uh, so we went with a specific spot in that strip mall I mentioned, but turns out there was like a ton of stuff that was outdated, and it would have been a ton of money to even do that. But the landlord actually suggested to me, "Why don't you do a food truck, and I can just charge you to use the space in the strip mall
Hmm.
and start like that. And after a year, once we get this fixed, you can move in here to the store." And that's what we did. So it was his idea to do a truck.
Mm.
I never really thought of buying or starting a coffee truck. Um, so shout out to him, even though he ended up not he did us dirty at the end, but it was, I mean, I want to credit him because
Yeah.
it was because of him that we went that route. So we were there for around a year. Once we hit the 1 year mark, exactly, I signed the lease for this place, which we're inside a food hall.
Hmm.
And once we hit the 2 year mark, we were awarded a coffee shop space in the Enrique Moreno County Courthouse.
Wow.
So now we have two shops, and the trailer is out of commission for now.
Hmm.
Still trying to figure out how to have everything running at the same time
Yeah.
without cloning myself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And this location, you're here off of Arizona Street, right? You're
yep,
also right across the EPISD,
that's
and
right.
then the other. This is also Texas Tech building. What is this?
This is the UTEP's. It's a UTEP building, but
Okay.
they have the School of Pharmacy program here,
Right.
the School of Physical Therapy. Most of their classes used to be here. From my knowledge, they moved elsewhere.
Hmm.
But they also have other health sciences programs like the speech language pathology and some other courses that they come to take here every now and then. So we're kind of following that business model of we want to be as close as possible to people who need their caffeine
Hmm.
year round. So if it weren't for this building, I would not have been interested in this building. First, because I don't want to share space with other businesses.
Yeah.
They're going to steal my customers.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's my mentality. I know people say that
A very
that's
competitive
yeah.
mentality. Yeah.
Um, so UTEP sold this spot. And then the EPIC, of course, is a huge building, tons of people that come and get coffee, but
Mm.
nowhere near as much as students.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now the name Glias, and I'm saying that right? Glia.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that also has a very personal and a very personal attachment to you, right?
Yeah, so Glia is my puppy.
Hmm.
She's a real dog. Um, she's around 7 years old now. I named her Glia after a type of brain cell. So if you Google Glia, you'll see a ton of results related to science. Even like the Google image search, you'll see mostly like images of like microscopy of brain cells. So I studied that in undergrad, and when I got the dog, I thought, like, what can I name her? When you name dogs, you have to name them something that is easy for them to understand and associate,
Hmm.
or discriminate from other words commonly used by humans. And by that, it has to be short. And Glia, for me, just kind of checked all the boxes. So let's name her Glia. And then a few years passed, and I was brainstorming names for the business. And I don't even remember the other ones, but when I thought of like Glia's, I was like, that's a good name. And if you see a lot of our branding, as I'm sure a lot of people are aware, it has like the dog. we've transitioned into not using the dog as much, but
There's no dog in that one.
our, our our other stickers or our other branding elements still have her.
Yeah.
And when I was in that phase, people, I mean, you've experienced this when you're starting a business, you get all sorts of opinions from people, and it's confusing because you don't know who do I believe, or like, are they right? They kind of gaslight you,
Yeah.
maybe not in a malicious way, but it just messes with your mind. So for me at the time, when I mentioned the dog logo, a really frequent comment I would get is they're gonna think it's like a business of food for dogs or something like
For
that.
like a pet grooming or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or comments about the name too is like that's hard to pronounce,
Mm.
or what does that even mean? So I stuck with it because I thought I was like confident that would work. So this is a very long way of saying that I named my dog after the brain cell, and then I named the business after the dog. So it's a double pun in that it's because of her, and then the medical science elements associated with that.
Yeah. No, but that it's very cool, man. And I think you guys do a great job of the branding, even like your page and your logos and all of that, which is I, what I've learned in doing what I've been doing now is that like branding is everything. And
Yep.
like that, you guys do a really great job of it. A lot of your artwork and all that, I believe it's done within your it's in source, right? Or I don't know, that's the proper word.
Like in
In
house.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree about the branding.
Yeah.
I've always had some sort of a proclivity for that. Even before wanting to start a business, I just admired and respected businesses that had a really solid image overall for their customer base. So that was the first thing I was really excited to tackle with Glia. Is like we need to have a really good logo. It can't look like something you made yourself on Canva. You yourself as a non-artist, right? Because I'm not
Hmm.
gifted with that. Um, so I invested most of the budget to start on a really good designer from Brooklyn. His name's Eric Lee.
Hmm.
His page is at Eric W. Lee Design. Shout out to him. Um, and since then, I've learned a bit about photography, and 99% of the stuff you see on our pages is captured by me.
Wow. And you're a very curious person naturally, right?
I would say so.
Yeah. Because even I know a little bit about your backstory, but like how you started basically just learning to, brew coffee and on your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when COVID started, I mean, you remember almost every place closed,
Yeah.
and I lived in coffee shops. I was one of those people that could not study at home. I would just end up doing other things. Now it's the opposite because of COVID. But anyway, in hopes to adapt to that change, I thought I'm going to recreate a mini coffee shop at home. So I bought a Bambina Plus espresso machine. It's around $400. I recommend that machine to everyone
Hmm.
who wants to get into it. And I just I started learning about it, and it's one of those things, kind of like, let's say you want to get healthier and you want to lose weight, and you
Hmm.
Google how to lose weight. You're gonna get so many results, and you don't even know what to believe or where to start because there's just so much information. It's the same way with coffee, in my opinion, because it's so subjective as well. But I think once you get a really solid understanding of like the base knowledge of like brewing ratios or like coffee origins and things like that, and also about machines, because you also have to learn about that. Then you can start building upon that base of knowledge, and it teaches you how to differentiate from stuff that's useful and what isn't useful, just like in any other realm of knowledge. Um, so to answer the question, I would say curiosity helped me with coffee, making coffee, and I've also always been quite a bit of a business minded or
Hmm.
industrious.
Yeah.
Every single hobby I've had in my life, I've somehow find a way to make money from it. Um, it is a bit annoying at times, honestly, because at least right now, because I just want something that I can enjoy without wanting to make it
Without
a business.
monetizing it.
But coffee just happened to be one of those things as well. And I mean, here we are.
What other hobbies do you have?
I was really into washing cars, like
Okay.
car detailing. I found even like these seminars that they host for people that want to like learn like about it, and like to the point that they want to have their own business,
Okay.
because there's a whole like universe of products that you can use, like equipment or machines, and also like actual like the fluids like or chemicals.
Hmm.
And I came up with the name. It was gonna be called a Glow Up, a mobile car wash service. This
Yeah.
was around 15 years ago, but I was really into that. I thought I enjoyed washing cars, but after a month or two, I realized this is not that fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I was also quite a bit into competitive powerlifting, so I had a consulting service for that. I myself competed, and I trained um, over 60 competitive lifters as well.
Oh shit. What was
Um,
your max?
on bench 385, on squat 475, and deadlift 515
God damn.
with a belt. Yeah,
Damn. So you broke that 1,000 pound club
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
What was your favorite lift to do?
I think deadlift.
Deadlift?
Yeah,
Mm. And
and you?
do you still gym and stuff or
Not that
not
much.
that much? No.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, same. I don't gym as much anymore. I had a streak going where I was going with a group of friends. Actually, some of my co-hosts, they used to be on. Haven't seen them in a while. But yeah, it's been a couple months now, man. I haven't done any lifting at all. My time is just consumed by doing this or doing other
right.
projects, and we started like our production company, so I'm trying to, you know, figure that out. So yeah, there's no time. I go for a run every now and then, but nah, man, I need to get back on it.
It's hard.
Hmm.
I I mean, when I was younger, and I was so immersed in that world, and I would hear people say that I just don't have time or like work.
Yeah.
And you kind of empathize, but in the back of your mind, at least with me, I had that thought that, well, maybe it's just not a priority for you. And maybe you should like be more disciplined.
Yeah.
So it's easy to judge when you're like on that, riding that wave or that momentum. But, as you grow older, you have more responsibilities and it's harder. Not
Mhm.
that it can't be done. I'm just saying that it makes sense now that you're on this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you the other day. What's up with the cookies on the straw? I'm
I
not
feel,
complaining. I like it. It's
yeah,
like a little bonus, but that's a really neat idea, and I've never seen it anywhere else.
we respectfully stole it from a store called Potbelly. They
Okay.
closed. I used to go there a lot. But they use a really tiny cookie,
Mm,
and it's only for their milkshakes, I think. So I thought that would be cool. So I did it just a few times the first
hmm.
times we opened, and my mother saw it and she thought, "Que bonito."
Yeah.
And after that, I told her like, "Let's not buy them because it's just a hassle to have to source them."
Hmm.
And but she kept buying them, even though I asked her like don't buy them. Like we didn't even have money,
Yeah.
but she kept doing it, and I'm glad she did because now it's a bit of our a signature
Hmm.
thing of our image, I suppose.
Was your mom a big help in running the business and help starting off and all that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without her help, we would not be here in any way.
Mm.
When you start a business, having help is expensive. Labor is really expensive. And if it's just you, then I mean, I'm okay with not paying myself.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you have enough for your rent and
To
like
get
your
by and
expenses,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you have others, I mean, that changes. You can't ask someone to work for free, right?
Yeah.
But my mother did that
Hmm.
just to help me. So without her just constant support being there, without compensation
Hmm.
initially, um, yeah, I mean, I just can't think a coherent way in which we would have been successful.
Yeah. I can relate to that. Well, with my dad, my mom's not around anymore. She passed away like 2 years ago. But my I live at home with my dad, and he's been a big supporter of me doing podcasts. We actually our first like 40 some episodes we shot them in the living room at my house, or my dad's house, I should say. And he's been really supportive of that. And even now, when I decided to go all in on our production company and quit my job, and I told him like, hey man, I wanna pursue this. He was like, yeah, go for it. Like, don't worry about don't worry about the money. Like we'll figure it out. He's retired now. We don't have a whole lot of bills and stuff, so it's it's nice to have that support from your parents. It kind of gives you that confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear about your mom.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I think that probably the greatest privilege a person can have just as a living human is being born in a world where you have either one or both parents who love you and support you.
Hmm.
Because not everyone has that. Um, so yeah, I'm glad you have that support system. And as you mentioned, it's helping you now, and it was invaluable for me to have my mother still to this day helping with Glias. She's here almost every day. We have to tell her like go home, like go rest. The kitchen is full. We'll have like 3 people back there, and or
Hmm.
4 people on the weekends, and she shows up and like, what can I do?
Yeah.
But for her, I mean, it's also it's her baby as well. You know, she saw it from nothing, and now that we have so much help, we have multiple locations. It's cool, and I'm glad she's here and around to see the success too.
So you're the owner, you're the boss, but then when she's around, does she become the boss?
She's the boss.
She's the
She's my
boss?
boss.
Yeah.
She's always my boss. Yeah.
That's funny. Speaking of staff and all that, how many people do you have in staff now, especially now that you have a second location?
Yeah. I think internally or for like central roles around 16. By that I mean like people who work like inside our establishments. But we have other staff members that help us with PR, like Idali, some like Chris who helps us. He's our podcast producer. We've had social media managers before. Um, we have an accountant now. So if you want to consider that like an employee, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lot, man. It's yeah.
And you were telling me when I was talking to you the other day that prior to this, you didn't have any experience in like management or anything like that, right?
Yeah, in management I did, but not in the food or hospitality
Oh,
industry,
right, right.
which is just a really specific and different business than anything I had ever worked for at before.
Mhm.
Well, slight correction. I did work in food, but I was a busboy at Peter Piper. That was my very first job.
Yeah.
And then at Yogoberry, which is where I learned English. But after that, no food. Um, Most of my jobs after that were in either retail or health or
Hmm.
science. Like I've worked in labs before, laboratories. And as far as management, I worked for a medical scribe agency. Uh,
Hmm.
if you go to a doctor nowadays, you'll see sometimes someone behind the physician you're talking to, kind of on their computer, just typing notes.
Yeah.
Their job is just to document what's going on.
Mm.
They're called medical scribes. So people who want to become physicians oftentimes get those jobs. So I started working as a scribe and I excelled. And within 2 months, they promoted me to be the site coordinator, which means I was the boss of all the scribes in the city.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
that's where I got quite a bit of experience managing like large teams. Because like, can you imagine all these like undergrads
yeah.
that want to be really specific and picky with like their availability, and you have to match them with 85 physicians in clinical settings all over the city with really distinct and different schedules themselves. So that was fun.
What's been like the biggest lesson you've learned leading, your people here at Glias?
Well, to be honest, the first thing that comes to mind is when I was in the early stages of Glias that I was planning ahead and like, well, I know at first I have to work most of it myself, and at
Yeah.
some point we'll be, successful enough to hire and to pay people to be here. I always thought of that phase as, or I thought of staff members during that phase as just like random entities.
Hmm.
Uh, I didn't humanize them that much, but then we started hiring people, and fast forward to where we're at now. Um, just working with them and seeing them grow and show appreciation for working here or just positive experiences, to me that's been by far the most fulfilling things in working in this type of business. um
Have you had like one of those moments where, and I tell you from experience because I was in I was a manager for years, and for a while I never thought of myself as like a role model or anything like that. But until one of um one of the associates, whenever I quit my job at Under Armour, when I left, they were very grateful for me being there, and it was very moving knowing that I made an impact in somebody like that. And I don't know, like I never really thought about it before until after that. So from there on now, like whenever I was around people, I would always kind of that would always be in the back of my head. Is like, am I making a difference with this person, or is it, or am I just a body or anything like that? But have you had any rewarding moments like that where maybe one of your employees comes up to you and like, hey man, like I really appreciate you for anything like that, or that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. I'll mention one, and I will not disclose the identity of the staff member.
Okay.
Maybe they don't even work here anymore.
Yeah.
Just saying. But after working here for a week, they mentioned like kind of as a joke, like, man, I've had like $2 on my bank account for the past month, so
Hmm.
want me to work, like, because we were talking about how much they want to work, about the schedule.
Yeah.
So I replied with like, say no more. We got a lot of work to go around. And later that day, we went to grab dinner, the entire staff,
Yeah.
and like them saying that really stuck with me because I know their background and like their living arrangement.
Yeah.
So we went to get dinner, and they left, and I walked with the person, and I had a cash, so I gave him $50,
Hmm.
and I said, now you have 52. Um, and 50 nowadays is not that much, but at least it gets you like some gas or food or something.
Yep.
And I said, like, this is not related to your tips. It's not related to like your payout of any kind. It's just for you.
Hmm.
Um, and then later that night, they sent a message, like this really like moving and like beautiful message
Hmm.
that I maybe like cried a little bit
Yeah.
over, but just like expressing gratitude that no one had done that.
Yeah.
So things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very rewarding, man. Once you start working with people, that's one thing I do miss about my job is the people that I would work with.
Yeah.
I hated the the actual job, but the people there, like I'd still, you just grow this relationships with them, and especially if you see them every day, right? They almost become like a second family.
Yep.
So yeah, that's pretty cool.
What's tricky though, this might sound contradicting, is that it is like beautiful to have this great relationship with them, but when you have like a management or leadership role, you also have to know how to still be detached and like make tough decisions. Because
Yeah.
here at Glia's, I've fired people that I really really liked personally,
Hmm.
just because they messed up. Like one time, this person just straight up they didn't show up to the shift, no call, no show. Our policy is if you do that, you're out. Because we're a small business, like we can't afford that,
Right.
especially if you're opening the shop. And I really like this person, but I just didn't want to make an exception because the other staff members are going to see
Yeah.
that's something I can do and get away with.
You make an example out of them.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool that you have that policy and you enforce it, because when I was at Adidas, man, we had so many no call no shows, and these kids would get so many breaks. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It would always piss me off whenever, especially if I was closing on a weekend, because retail, it's pretty busy. Weekends is crazy, and at the end of the night, you just want to close and get out of there.
yeah,
And if we had like a no call no show, then it was basically just adding time. Like we'd have to stay longer to make up for that one person,
yeah.
or I would have to jump on register or something like that. And it was a pain. But
If
I'll go for
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to clarify, because I don't want to seem like a tyrannical entity.
it.
If you no call no show and like something happened, like I got in an accident, that's
Yeah.
different than
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
forgot to set up my alarm.
yeah,
So that's what I'm not cool with.
yeah. But you do got to put the fear of God in them sometimes, just kind of put it out there. The courthouse location. So you said you just opened up recently, right? This year.
Yeah, January 27.
Hmm. What's that been
Um,
like?
Honestly, it's been easy, but that's because I like when I opened the trailer, I did it with virtually zero resources as far as like experience, of like how to get the paperwork, like what documents do you need, what type of equipment is better, how should you invest your money. I didn't even have money. Most of that, everything was through loans, so that was a good learning lesson. And then we opened up this shop, and it was the same thing again, but now we had a bit more resources,
Mhm.
a bit more money, a bit more access to funding. I already know how to get all the paperwork done, which I did like within a day, as far as like your sales tax, how to get the inspection from the public health department, make sure you're
Mhm.
adhering to code. Really nebulous things that when you're getting into it, and if you don't have anyone telling you how to do it,
Yeah.
it's super confusing. You don't even know where to start. And then these web pages to teach you, or that give you the info, it seems as if though they wrote it on purpose in a really confusing way. So without getting sidetracked, we did the same thing here with more challenges because now it's a physical store.
Hmm.
And then now with the courthouse, we had even more access to funding. I had more experience with everything that encompasses.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we have the full support of the El Paso County. For example, when we bought an ice machine for this shop, we had to buy the ice machine. We get the ice machine, and then we have to pay a plumber to install it, and that was around $500. Um, we bought the espresso machine and all those things. Same thing. A special electrical outlet, more plumbing stuff. Another $500. A lot of expenses that start accumulating. But at the courthouse, since we're part of El Paso County now as a business, we have access to their plumbing department or their facilities
Nice.
department in general. So every time we've had issues, like we got our new ice machine, just to
Hmm.
stick with the same example, I just call them. It's like, can you plug this in? Sure. Within an hour, it was done. They actually unboxed it for us. It's just really cool to have that support, man. Because before, if something went wrong, I was the only one stressed, and rightfully so. It's my business.
Hmm.
But now I can call them like, this is what's up, and they handle it. So to answer the question, how has been opening or how was opening it?
Yeah.
It's a breeze
Yeah.
compared to everything else.
I can imagine, man. But that's pretty cool because um not a lot of people can say, you know, or do what you've been doing, man, and also like in such a short amount of time. Just having the
Yeah,
multiple locations and having a location in a building like that, that's huge.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like,
So kudos to you
thank you,
guys.
man. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm so grateful for that opportunity because they chose us. Um, Out of all the businesses that I play, like they chose us, and they really don't. I don't take that for granted, and I feel like now our standards for our staff, as far as like how they make the drinks, their customer service is just so high. And before, I was honestly quite afraid of being direct with baristas. I didn't want to like um regañarlos.
Yeah.
How do you say that? And now I don't
Yeah.
care. Like if I see something that they're doing wrong, like immediately like stop. What do you think we did wrong? How can we change it?
Hmm.
Um, so high standards because we don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not only that, but one of your employees the other day said that Glia is one of the only dogs or something like that that can enter the courthouse.
the only
The
dog.
only dog.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
she's pretty famous.
Yeah. She's a really cute dog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sweet dog. Funny story. She was supposed to be a gift for a girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
ex-girlfriend,
Yeah.
because she always mentioned that she always wanted a golden retriever, and she
Hmm.
was about to graduate school
Hmm.
in like 3 months from when she mentioned. So I made a mental note. We need to find a golden retriever as a gift to
Yeah.
surprise her. So one thing led to another, and she dumped me, but she didn't know I already had the dog.
Oh shit.
So I just ended up keeping Glia. So if a few things would have gone differently, like none of this would have happened. At least not the name.
Yeah. It's funny how life works, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You never know what some like at the time, at the time you might not see it, but I'm very I like to think back, and I like to kind of, what's the word? I'm blanking so hard. Um yeah, just kind of to look back on stuff, and I
Like reflect.
reflect. There you go. Sorry, it's early. Also, I got to say this is the earliest episode we've ever shot, and we've we've been up really early, and
I'm
like
sorry.
the coffee's barely kicking in right now. So
I feel also bad because my first few words when we started the episode, like, man, I'm like, my linear is not, my thinking is not linear here.
yeah, yeah,
So apologies to the listeners.
yeah.
It's podcasting is much harder than it seems.
It is. It's very hard. Um, but yeah, I reflect a lot, man, and especially now within the last couple of years because my life has changed so much,
Yep.
and I always start to think like, it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Like if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Whether it's good or bad, tragedy or not, like I have the mentality where I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm at that point now where, like I said, even something as tragic like my mom or whatever, like I'm grateful for the lessons I learned because of that.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to think about that. And I think about that now. We're like, okay, I wonder what this is gonna set off in the future. Or I don't know, it's very weird. I get very deep on that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are self-aware or like to stop and like think like how did this impact my
Hmm.
life and even like the way you think, which is huge. But are you familiar with Stoic philosophy?
No.
So it's from ancient Greece.
Hmm.
Have you heard of Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah.
Marco Aurelio?
More like Gladiator?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Gladiator made him famous,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he's a philosopher. He was an emperor
Hmm.
of Rome. But the Stoic philosophy is basically premised on helping you reframe how you see things. For
Hmm.
example, if it's within your control, or if it's not within your control, then like don't worry about it.
Hmm.
And I asked you because Stoic philosophy became very popular in the last couple of five to 10 years or so.
Hmm.
I think attributed to Ryan Holiday, an author. So he has really several books that are pretty famous now, and the top sellers on Amazon. But I asked because I feel with Stoicism, it's those like niche sayings or practices of as you mentioned, like everything happens for a reason,
Hmm.
or helping you look at an obstacle as an opportunity to grow.
Right.
And it's really easy to romanticize that when you're in a good headspace, but when you're like going through it, it's actually hard to practice
Yeah.
stoicism. Um, but I think it's something you would enjoy. The book, man, what is it called? So the Daily Stoic. So
Hmm.
you can just read one page. Each page is meant to be. The book is meant was written in a way for you to just read one page per day,
Okay.
and it has a date outlined and everything. Each month has a theme, and then each day has starts with like some sort of excerpt from anywhere,
Hmm.
and then the author adds like a comment to it.
Oh,
So
that
yeah,
sounds like my type of book,
I
just
think
one a day, because I'm not a reader at all. And I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. I have a hard time sitting down and just reading a book. If it's like a one pager, I think I can definitely knock that out. Yeah.
yeah, I've gifted that book to around eight or nine people.
Uh huh.
At least that's like a tradition I have that when I feel like I've built a pretty good bond with someone or someone who I'm just grateful for and I want to show them appreciation, like I
Hmm.
will gift them that book because it helped me so much.
Yeah.
Um, the last time I did it was at Circle K. I live in Central and I'm not good. It's a bad area.
Hmm.
The Circle K nearest to the house is not good. I don't recommend you going there. It's the one by UMC
Hmm.
on Alameda. So I went to get some chips and I think a beer or something, and the cashier, it was around midnight. He's like, "How you doing, man?" And I was like, "Hey, good. How are you?" And he said, "Ah, man, I could be doing better." And I felt bad because I paid, and I said, I hope everything's fine, and I hope things get better." And as I was driving home, I felt bad. Like I should have said something. There was no one behind me. It's like there was no line. It was just him and I
Yeah.
in the gas station. So I went home and I grabbed my copy And then I drove back and I gave it to him. It's like, dude, here. Like, but when I went back, there were more people, and the dude just kind of grabbed it and kind of aggressively, and like he just put it away, and he
Hmm.
didn't say thank you or anything. And I left again home, and I was thinking that's kind of rude.
You're like, fuck, that was my
Yeah.
copy.
But my realization was, did I just kind of come across as one of those people who push their religion onto others? You know, that
Yeah.
they like go and give you Bibles and things like that.
Yeah.
So I chilled out after that. Um, sorry, I
Did
kind of
you
went.
ever see him again after that, or
No,
no? Huh. Well, if you happen to be watching this, dude, random guy from Circle K, reach out and let us know if
hopefully I left a Glia sticker in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. You never know, man. You never know.
that's true.
Yeah, that's pretty funny though. You should just buy like a stack of those books. Just order like a bunch and just have them in a box so you can hand them out.
Yep,
Carry them in your car. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is Winterfest because that's pretty huge,
it
right?
is.
Yeah, and it's not the first year that you do that, right? You've already been doing it for a few.
Yeah, so we've worked Winterfest every year since we opened as a business.
Hmm.
Um, it's a pretty competitive gig, and to be honest, I'm surprised. I was really surprised first when they picked us the first year because we had only been open as a business for 3 months.
Hmm.
And when they get businesses for those types of gigs, it usually it would be someone with a lot of experience and a reputable business for the city of El Paso to do business with because they know they're reliable. So as soon as they picked us, I mean, like, it was game on. Um, we're gonna make sure we do everything right and like to not disappoint them. And I mean, we made really good money. The first year, like that first day of Winterfest, I think we made more in sales than we had done in like three or 4 months combined.
Oh shit!
Crazy, dude. Uh,
And yeah, at this point, you're just in the food truck.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it was great because I was only like paying myself,
yeah,
or not myself, like the business.
yeah.
To which I should also add that like almost all the profit we've made, I've injected it back into Glia's. I grab enough just from my rent and my basic living expenses.
Hmm.
I bought my mom a car recently, so like that kind of nullifies that.
Oh hell yeah!
But every other cent of profit is back to the business, and we just keep buying more things, more equipment. Um, but yeah, Winterfest was huge, and it the second year again, we made good money, and we learned a lot because like running those gigs, it may seem just like another normal day for a food truck, but if you see a food truck in a really densely populated or heavy pedestrian traffic event,
Hmm.
it's really freaking hard to keep up with the orders.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially if it's just you, and I'm assuming it'll just like you and your mom at this point.
the first year, it was my girlfriend at the
Uh
time,
huh.
and we had a barista, Bianca,
Hmm.
so four of us. The second year, that's when we had a full like staff. And then the third year, like which the one that just passed, I mean, we had that experience from the first 2 years. I had more management experience. We had again more funding, more equipment to facilitate um, the the order production. So yeah, I just can't like emphasize how tough it is, and we made it work. Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said, I did retail, and during holidays, it's like overtime. Like everybody, is out and about, and it's just really busy. I think another thing I learned about holidays, and people are kind of like on edge, especially like the closer you get to Christmas, or maybe it's just a retail thing. But yeah, some people were always just on edge, man, or just like in a rush. I guess they're trying to get their gifts or something, and you really have to like be more empathetic with people because you never know what their day is like.
that's true.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe it might be different for you because I think of Winterfest and I think of that, people are going out to have fun and stuff, so maybe they're in a better mood already. But I feel like during retail I got the shitty end of the holiday season.
Yeah, and it was at the outlet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's rough. Are you guys gonna continue to be doing Winterfest, or you don't know yet?
we don't know. We'll apply,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if we'll get picked. Uh, I, sometimes I wonder if other businesses, particularly competitors, think that we have some sort of agreement with them or something like shady, but we don't. We
Hmm.
just apply like everyone else does.
Hmm.
And now there's more coffee trucks and trailers in town, and maybe they'll pick them, maybe they'll pick us. If they pick us, we'll always do like our best freaking job to deliver that service to them, and we just keep getting better.
Yeah.
More experience, more equipment, better service, faster service. So we'll keep applying as long as Glias is open and Winterfest is open. We'll keep applying to be there.
What's the, I don't want to say like what's the competition like, but do you interact with any other local coffee shops or anything like that, or maybe even collab? Not so much like competitors.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't really go to other coffee shops at all. I'm obviously because I'm here every day. There's several pop-ups now in El Paso, and many of them have shown Glia's love before the
Hmm.
pop-up. So every single person that I've noticed starts their coffee project that have been our customers, I always really go out of my way to like support them.
Hmm.
Um, we give them a shout out on our page. I buy from them. Like the other day, this pop-up's called Cafe Mono.
Hmm.
I asked if she could bring samples, and I bought for all the staff here at the shop.
Oh, nice.
So things like that when you're starting out makes a world of a difference. But I feel like you just have to be in those shoes to really understand like how cool it is when someone does that for you.
Yeah.
Um, so I make sure that I do that for them. Another is a Cas, uh, Casarrio, I think.
Hmm.
Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Um, but as far as other local shops, those are very, very few that I interact with. I am honestly pretty competitive
Yeah.
with in the business world, and I'm really trying to pick my words carefully here. Um, what's that saying that something about collaboration, not competition, or some like live, laugh, love type of saying
Yeah.
about not competing and instead collaborating.
Yeah.
But honestly, my mentality, especially at farmers markets or geographical settings, is
Hmm.
you're trying to take money from my pockets, like
Yeah.
because this is for us, this is for our staff. Obviously, I don't show that. I'm really respectful to everyone who works in a or who owns another business,
Hmm.
but that's just a mentality I have to keep improving the business, and it just really helps me stay focused.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't, I think that's a good mentality to have, man. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think being competitive is good in whatever field that you
yeah,
are. You have to have that drive, that hunger, right? Or else you don't get anywhere.
yeah,
So I think that's a good mentality to have. Um, I don't know you a whole lot, but from what I have known, I know you're a very giving person from what I've seen. Even with us, you've let us do this, and um, the other day that we hung out, like I've seen that side of you. So I don't think you do it with like a malice or anything like that. But yeah, nothing wrong with a little competition. you guys donated a bunch of food and supplies for the El Paso Rescue Mission. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did that come about? Not
Yeah,
only that, but you volunteered your time. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you did too. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for that specific event or in general?
Well, in general, we can talk about that one, and then maybe in any other events or anything else
Yeah.
that you do. Yeah.
So for that one, I saw a post on Instagram from their page saying that they were looking for an organization or business that wanted to sponsor their cookout,
Mhm.
which entails buying all the food supplies to serve 200 servings of hot dogs, 200 servings of burgers, and then all the fixings and condiments associated with serving those items. So immediately I sent them a message like, "Hey, we're down.
Mhm.
Um, what do you need from me?" So they wrote us. I messaged them in early January, and they immediately booked us for the February slot. So I went to the Sam's and I bought all of the supplies and I took them. Um, but as far as like the motivation to do that, I I talked about this on the podcast too with Chris, and the best answer I have is that it's just my parents because they're like that, or my
Mhm.
dad was like that. Um, ever since I was little, like when you grow up and you see your parents do something, it becomes like your baseline of behavior
Yeah.
or how the world works.
Yeah.
They always went out of the way to do things for others without expecting anything in return. My father, especially, he helped so many people and he never publicized it. He never talked about it. I don't know, just doing what they did.
Mhm.
Um, so some really cool things that came on about after I started Glia's was, now we have an audience and we have resources to have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
I remember the first year as a business, that's when the migrant crisis happened here in El Paso. I don't know if you remember.
Mhm.
There were tons of migrant families and like kids on the streets, and that was a really, really cold winter in El Paso. And I know there's like all these politically charged opinions and beliefs about
Mhm.
migrants, but just put that aside and like realize that they were like kids,
They're
dude, like on
humans.
the
At the end of the
street
day, they're
and humans,
humans.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and in the United States of America, which was just crazy to me. But when that happened is I posted I uploaded a post on our Instagram asking for donations. We started collaborating with Sacred Heart Church. One of our regulars, our friend Loya, he works there. He still works there. And I asked him like, "What do you need help with?" Because I know they were at capacity of at their shelter. And actually, that shelter became famous because it was known for having all these people wait outside of Sacred Heart. I
Mhm.
don't know if you're familiar with it, but we asked for donations from the community. We were overwhelmed with donations. We got
Oh,
so
nice.
much stuff. Um, so in reality, we just kind of triangulated those um, goods to the people who needed it, but it was El Paso who donated that. And I feel that for the community, you just really need to give them a way to help,
Mhm.
because it's easy to just say like you need to help your community, but if you're like more specific with like actionable steps to do that, I think more people are likely to do it because most people want to help, they just maybe don't know how or don't have the time.
Yeah.
So without getting too sidetracked, we did that with Sacred Hearts. I ceased operations for Glia's for 3 weeks just to volunteer in their kitchen. We were managing their kitchen at the time, and we also worked with Annunciation House. um, Funny story though about Sacred Heart. One time I went in to volunteer and I see someone peeling potatoes in the kitchen, just minding their own business, and it was Veronica Escobar.
Oh wow.
It's really cool, dude, because a lot of people in that world, they won't do anything like that without showing themselves.
Right.
I get it now. It's like it's PR and
Yeah.
it's important, but just really seeing her do that by herself is really cool. And I maybe asked for a picture with her at the end, but really cool person. Um, and since then, we have a scholarship. We're about to release a new one that's specifically aimed for people from El Paso or Juarez, well, the Borderplex region who want to be physicians.
Mhm.
Um, when you want to be a physician, there's all these expenses associated with just even applying, let alone like being admitted. Um, Like the admission exam, the MCAT is $315 to register.
Oh shit.
All the prep material for it is also very expensive. If you want to submit your application just for Texas schools, just to like even be considered, it's $325. After that, each individual school you apply to has like their additional fee to apply. So all these things like add up. And when you look at the medical student body, the overwhelming majority of it are people who come from affluent or wealthy backgrounds. And to me, that just makes no sense, especially in El Paso, because you want a physician, you want a demographic of physicians that maybe mirrors the actual population they're serving a bit more. People who know like what it's like to not have transportation to your doctor visits, who don't speak English, who don't know how insurances work, who maybe have never been to a doctor before. So if you have physicians who grew up in a really privileged upbringing, although they can empathize and provide good medical care, I think it is also morally right
Hmm.
to have physicians who have also experienced that.
Yeah.
So part of that scholarship is to help offset that by 0.00001.
It's
Like we're
still
just
expensive as fuck. Yeah.
so just honestly just doing our part.
Yeah.
But as we grow and we have more revenue, that's just gonna keep getting even bigger.
Um, but that's great, man. I like that. That's really awesome. Even the day off that we went to go, that we were at the rescue mission, jumping in there and showing. I know we had some people that bailed on you the day, but it says a lot about your character and who you are, that you're willing to go, because you could have easily not shown up, right? You had already donated the supplies and all that, like, but you took that extra step to go and jump in there. Um, so that's really great, man. I think that's awesome. And for me, it was very eye opening because, and I told you that day, like we take a lot of shit for granted.
Yep.
We take for granted that, you know, we get to sleep under a roof, that we get to have breakfast at home, and and seeing, all these people that, waiting in line in the morning just to have a meal, like that's moving, and that's touching. Um, so thank you for allowing us to be there and kind of, shining some light on that. And um, I was telling Sal, my number one producer over there, that I want to reach out to him, and I want to help him out, see if we can maybe do an episode to highlight them, and you know shed some light on that, because it's something that I've lived in the area for all this time and I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know.
That would be great. I'm sure they would be into it.
Yeah.
They would will agree to do that.
Mhm.
Um, I Most of the community outreach or service we've done, I would say like at least 95%, we don't publicize, we don't post anything about it. Now that we have someone who helps us with PR, she's always mentioning like, tell me so we can like put it on social media.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may seem off-putting, kind of like influencers when they record themselves, like
Giving
giving
away.
random people
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I always thought it was so cringy.
It is cringy, but you can also look at it. It's like, well, they're raising awareness because,
Yeah, that's true.
to clarify, it depends on what the influencer is doing, right?
Hmm.
But I've seen some that they go up to random like street food vendors, like the ones with the carrito paletas. They're like, hey, how much have you sold today? It's like, oh, like $5. I'll buy everything you have right now. Here you go. And
Yeah.
like, what? Help me give it out. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm.
So when people um, publicize those things, I feel that it may have a ripple effect and increasing awareness of this is something you could be doing too, or this is something that people in general experience. So to go back, I mean, most of the stuff we've done, we don't show it, but we're trying to show that much more now.
I got a couple more things here. So the social media aspect, we can transition into that. You guys have a really big following now. Um, to someone that's starting up their business, what are some tips, or what would you recommend to grow their platform on social media?
Um, that's a good question. I think when you're starting your business, depending on your background and experience and like how much help you have, you really have to have a diverse skill set to
Mhm.
learn how to do a lot of things like graphic design, photography, and if you don't know like basics of those things, I'd suggest you learn them
Mhm.
because you can easily hire like a graphic designer even if you're just starting out, but it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And if you learn the basics of that, you'll also learn how to not only like do those things, but differentiate or distinguish down the road once you hire graphic designers if they're helping you in a way that is worthy of your money or not.
Yeah.
Um, to expand upon that, because it might seem contradicting that I said you don't need to hire someone and then later down the road you do hire someone. My mindset when with Glias has been at first I want to learn how to do everything. Um, First because we don't have the money to pay other people to do it, but also because I know at one point we will have the money
Mhm.
and you have the resources to pay that person. So then you can focus on this, your main thing that is bringing you the actual revenue, and you just offset those time commitments to get those things completed. I feel like I didn't really explain my thought here in a coherent way, but really get savvy with photography, invest in a good camera, um, maybe get the I use Adobe Express.
Mhm.
Uh, it's really easy to use, and I really like that. You can get a subscription for like $10 a month, and it also gives you access to the Photoshop Express.
Yeah.
And my personal opinion, do get a camera because it does make a difference with the images. I know there's also notions of if you're good at photography, you can take good images with a phone, and like yes, but
It's not the same.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I would recommend that to someone starting their business. Learn that, and then um, I guess have good taste.
Yeah.
But you either have that or you don't, right?
Yeah. You guys also do a lot of like collaborations with local, I don't want to say, I don't know how would you call them, organizations, right? Like you guys did the girls run. Sorry, I'm butchering the name.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Girls from the 915.
Girls run. I was almost there. I just needed the 915. Girls run the 915. Um, and you guys host events here as well,
Yeah.
right? How did that come about?
I stumbled upon their page when they had barely started. They had just over 4,000 followers or so, and immediately I thought to myself, this is gonna blow up. So
Hmm.
maybe it's a good idea to collaborate with them. And I mean, we have this huge space that no one really uses much but us. So it was a good meetup spot for them. This is a good neighborhood for them to run around because the way they work is they'll go to a business, they meet up there, they
Yeah.
run around it, and then they all hang out
Oh, nice.
where they started once they're done running, of course. So yeah, and the organizers, Ari and Daniela, they're really cool people. Um, I personally enjoy always chatting with people who are also entrepreneurs because there's you can bond over really like seemingly mundane things.
Hmm.
So to me, that's fun. Um, but yeah, other than the Girls from the 915, we've collaborated with a lot of student organizations. We've hosted events of our own here. We've had like latte art workshops. We've had home brewing workshops. We would like to bring those back at some point. Right now, we're just a bit limited on resources with time, and all our staff is pretty swamped with tasks as well. But I think having a space of your own, it just makes sense to like do something else with it and not
Yeah.
not not just use it for people to come and sit and eat.
Not only that, but doing stuff like that, like it gives you guys a ton of like puts a lot of eyes on you guys, and people start, especially, you know, you, they're here for an event. They're gonna be taking selfies. They're gonna be tagging people, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Your menu, I skipped over it. I wanted to touch up on it in the beginning, but we skipped over your menu. So you guys do coffee, but you guys also have food as well, and even the pizza, which I know you don't always do, but I've seen you guys post it, and you do it every now and then.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your menu. What do you guys offer?
Sure. So our food offerings, we have different types of burritos, the like Juarez style burritos with
Nice.
like guisados like chile verde,
Papas con chorizo, which I
chi-
saw the other day.
yeah,
Was
dude, chile relleno. We make everything here in house, so they're really tasty. And we started selling that because I mean, my mom and I, we're not chefs. We don't have like a we'd never worked in a kitchen before,
yeah.
so that's what she knew how to make. So screw it, let's sell this, and then also chilaquiles because they're relatively low. Um, they're easy to prepare.
Hmm.
Like you don't necessarily need a stove. Uh, since when we started, again, we had a trailer with like no stove, no really limited with equipment. So that's what we thought of, and they became our staple. So to this day, we have those things on the menu. We also have different bagel offerings. We have a bagel sandwich, which is bagel with an egg, avocado in there, some bacon, cheese. We have a bakery program, so some baked goods. We have a strawberry matcha cookie, um, chai carrot cake. We just introduced donuts to our program as well.
What's your favorite breakfast menu or just food menu item?
Probably like a egg and chorizo burrito.
Mm.
Yeah. We serve it with like a little salsa cup on the side,
Oh,
which we
nice.
also make here. And I really keep emphasizing that we make it here because a lot of businesses, like you can easily buy salsa from like another store and just like put it in your own little cups,
Hmm.
or you can buy like the guisados and just reheat them.
Hmm.
But we just really take pride in the stuff that we make from zero or from scratch.
The salsa, is it like a family recipe or anything like that?
Chile de árbol, I guess now it is. I should ask my mom.
Okay. She make it?
She makes it.
She's the one that makes it?
I mean, she taught all the staff members how to do it, or
Okay.
the kitchen staff. But we're trying to improve our food offerings and maybe give our program a bit of a facelift.
Hmm.
Uh, but I mean, there's just so many things going on that
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I feel like you can't go wrong with a good burrito, especially in this area. I grew up in having burritos for breakfast every day. Like that was my thing at home. Always making papas con chorizo or even like weenie con huevo. That's like my go-to. And I'm the type of person that I can eat breakfast food all day. Like I love breakfast food, and even sometimes I would take like egg burritos to lunch to have at work or
Yep.
you know. So I think that's pretty good. And then the pizza. I'm a big pizza guy, so I'm gonna have to try your pizza one of these days. You guys do it in house as well?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, I was quite neurotically obsessed with learning about espresso and then pizza.
Mm.
So I started messing around with different recipes for dough. I learned about hydration ratios, meaning like how much water you put into the flour in relation to the mass or how much weight in flour. Um, learning about like the sauces, different ovens. I have 4 ovens, dude.
Oh
It's
shit.
crazy.
At home?
Yeah, like pizza ovens.
Oh wow. Like brick? Do you have like a brick oven?
They're Uni and Gozu.
Okay.
Yeah, which are the two most famous pizza oven companies in the world right now.
Hmm.
But it's just something I got really passionate about very quickly. And now that we have our space, we'll have pizza pop-ups every now and then.
Mm. Nice.
So yeah, our style is like a Neapolitan style pizza,
Okay.
which means it's thin, crunchy on the outside, and if you compare it to maybe like the pizza joint, which the crust and the dough in general is a bit heavier.
Yeah.
They're all good. I like all types of pizzas,
Yeah.
but ours is lighter and thinner. So
Nice. Do you have a favorite pizza spot? Like local pizza spot?
I usually make my own pizzas if I'm craving pizza. I really like Peter Piper. I don't know if that counts as local.
Yeah.
And then Whole Foods has really good pizza, like
Oh, I
underrated.
haven't tried Whole Foods.
You have to try it, dude.
I've tried the
Order.
Sam's. Sam's is pretty good.
Sometimes it's good, but
Yeah.
Whole
Whole
Foods,
Foods.
I can't recommend it enough. The ricotta and meatball one, tasty as hell. We're actually getting some Whole Foods pizzas for our staff tomorrow because it's Employee Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my favorite. Well, how about you?
Um, there's this spot. So I live in Anthony, and there's a local pizzeria there called Homestyle. Shout out Homestyle. That's like my favorite pizza, man. Like it's so good. But Peter Piper. I love Peter Piper. The Three Cheese New York is probably like my favorite one from there. Pizza Joint is really good. I've been wanting to go try out that Deserto pizza. I've been wanting to try that place out. I've seen it on Instagram and it looks good. But I think my favorite pizza overall has been when we've gone to New York. King Street Pizza in New York is
Nice.
really good. And then there's another place called Roberta's, which is I think those two are always fighting for my number one spot. It kind of depends on the day, but yeah, they're really good. The King Street Pizza, they have like really spicy pepperonis, and I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else.
Hmm.
Their pepperonis are really good, and they flood, and it's like squares, little square pieces, but they go ham with the pepperonis and just fill it out. So if you ever go
Very cool.
there, I think they have another location in California now in LA. There's like 3 of them now.
Cool.
So King Street Pizza,
King Street.
yeah,
I've never been to New York. It's definitely on my bucket list. But that sounds good, man. Yeah, I feel like El Paso has a lot of room for growth in the pizza world. If someone's like interested in a business idea, that's something I would tackle, to be honest.
yeah. Maybe one day,
Yeah.
one day.
It's hard. Anything in the food world is just so hard, man. It becomes your life. But someone who maybe is listening and is looking for something to commit themselves to and make some money,
Hmm.
I would I would look into that for sure.
The last thing I want to touch up on is the podcast, because not only are you an entrepreneur, business owner, medical student, but now a podcaster. You're adding on to your plate.
Yeah. We have only recorded 4 episodes, so I guess I am a podcaster, but I'm still learning. And yeah, it's called the Glia's Coffee podcast.
Hmm.
The theme is about things I'm into.
Yeah.
When I said that to Chris or Art, I think my friend Art, he laughed, but it's true. I mean, we've interviewed so far people that the first one was about me. The second one was I'm blanking out right now,
It was
but just
with your employees, wasn't it?
well, yeah, with
And then
Devin.
you had the girls run the 915.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm a listener. I've been
Thank you,
listening.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so we have some lined up. Our next one is with Jorge Salgado. I don't know if you know him. He's a photographer for the Chihuahuas,
Okay. No, I don't know him, but I
and
will look into him.
yeah, other cool stuff lined up. It's just it's hard, man.
It is.
And I don't know any of like this production world,
Hmm.
and I don't want to learn because it's a little intimidating. And anyway, but we have Chris who's helping us with that at the moment.
And you guys are on Spotify?
Yes,
Anywhere else other than Spotify?
not yet,
Not yet.
but Chris keeps telling me to get on other platforms.
Yeah. We do YouTube and Spotify. That's all we do. I
Okay.
haven't set up the Apple. The Apple one's a little annoying and a pain of a butt to do, but I should really get on there. But I think we mainly do the YouTube and Spotify because of the video portion. We do a video podcast. Um, and yeah, it just adds another level of complication. But it's fun, man. I love podcasting. I love listening to all kinds of podcasts, and I'm trying to focus a lot more on the locals right now. We just did a series called Borderland Pods where we follow 3 different local podcasts, and I kind of just show behind the scenes of how they run it and how they do it. And then we gathered all 3 of them and we did like a mega podcast. So it was like 15 of us, and we all just sat down and talked about podcasting.
That's cool.
It was fun, man. It's a good one. So um yeah, it's a lot of it is a lot of work, but I like that you guys kind of cover, like you're saying, you're doing stuff that you do, but then you're also giving like an insight to the behind the scenes of your business, right? And I think that's really cool.
Most of the questions we get on DMs by far are about people who want to open a business.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's about coffee, but other times it's in general, or people who just want some guidance.
Yeah.
So that's actually what kind of inspired the podcast as a whole, is to like give people some insight as to like our daily lives or things that we worry about to keep the lights on and such. Um, but it's tough.
But yeah, no, keep going. Do you have any like guests that you like dream guests that you would want to have on?
Mm.
Joe Rogan?
Oh, we're going like that
Oh
big.
no,
I
no,
was thinking of local.
yeah, we'll do local, and then like we'll do like a
Yeah.
celebrity one.
Hmm. I would say Dr. Richard Lang. He's a president of Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center in El Paso, because that's the job I want one day. It might sound crazy, but that's what I want at one point. And I would just like to pick his brain and see, like, what do you do on a Monday? Like, you wake up and, like, do you go to the gym? Do you eat? What time do you go to work?
Yeah.
How much time do you spend, like, working on your lectures, or how much of it is, like, on doing PR stuff? So I'm just personally curious about that. And he's also a cool guy. Um,
Have you met him already?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went to the Francis Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences here in Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And when you graduate, he gives you your diploma.
Oh, okay.
That was the extent of my interaction with them. But that's going to change now that I'm starting in the medical school of Paul Foster in July, because he teaches some courses and he's the dean of the medical school as well.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I don't know if anyone has ever told him that I want your job.
Well, I would say, shoot your shot, man, and reaching out to him. You never
Yeah.
know. That's one thing I've learned doing this is like you never know who would jump. Like a lot of people are willing to do it.
Yeah.
People really love podcasts or like jumping on and talking about themselves. It's it's uh it's pretty interesting. One last thing that I just thought of, because I know you follow UFC.
Mhm.
We got Pereira fighting oh my god, I'm blanking again.
Magomed Ankalaev.
Magadev Ankalaev, yeah. They're fighting tomorrow for the light heavyweight championship. Who do you got?
Well, first, I'm sad that Dan Hooker is not fighting
Yeah,
Justin Gaethje.
what happened with that?
He had an injury.
Oh,
Yeah, but that was gonna be
that was gonna be a
the
war.
fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I don't know, man. I feel like Pereira has just won too much. So maybe
Hmm.
it's his time to drop the ball on like one slight thing during the fight, maybe.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I'm rooting for him, for Pereira, to be honest.
yeah. The UFC is very heartbreaking in the sense where
Yeah,
you never know what's gonna happen. And especially lately, a lot of the veterans, you can tell like they're already declining, right? Because it's like
yeah,
a young man sport. Um, I'm a big Izzy fan. I love Israel Adesanya, and lately he's been looking good, and but then like just ends up getting knocked out or
yeah, man.
something. Yeah.
That's how the sport is, unfortunately. I remember when I saw Habib's last fight
Hmm.
live.
Oh, you were
Um,
there?
Not live, sorry, like
Oh,
live on,
oh, okay.
as I was going in
I was about a
the other
fanboy,
part of the
dude.
world.
Yeah.
But in real time, I guess I should have
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, like, this is like history,
Yeah.
because he's retiring undefeated. This is a really cool story as well.
Hmm.
But another thing to talk about is maybe like Tony Ferguson's downfall. He's is or was my favorite fighter,
Yeah.
because I've been watching UFC for like 10 years now,
Hmm.
or mixed martial arts in general. So I mean, back then he was like El Cucuy.
Yeah.
He would, every opponent ended up bloodied up and just like beat up, and he started losing, and like, man,
That was like on
his
like a 6 loss, something like that.
7 loss
7
streak, dude.
loss.
And that
Yeah.
that first loss of that streak was against Justin Gaethje. That was a really tough fight because he got beat up quite a bit
Hmm.
during COVID,
Yeah.
and he was just never the same after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough. I don't know, but I think going back to the Pereira fight, I think if because Ankalaev says that he's not gonna go for a takedown, he's saying that he's gonna knock him out. He's gonna stand with him, but I don't know. I think once he starts feeling the pressure of Pereira and those leg kicks, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's gonna shoot.
Who did Uncle Hay fight before, as John Blachowicz?
Yeah,
No.
John. And that one was like they ended up like doing a draw because they were fighting for the title, right?
Yeah,
They drawed and it was like a snooze fest.
but I think John landed a ton of leg kicks to the degree that Ankalaev's like legs were compromised. No,
Hmm.
I may be remembering wrong,
Yeah.
but if that happened, to him with John, imagine with Pereira, because
Yeah.
he's the man of leg kicking. So
Yeah.
it'll be a fun fight. I don't think he'll adhere to his word of not going for a takedown.
Mhm.
He's 100% gonna go. They just say that.
You have to. I think that's honestly the road to success to beat Pereira. You can't stand with the guy. He's too good. Like some of the best, like Adesanya have
Yeah.
stood toe to toe with him and lost, and he beat him, but he's lost more times to him than he's actually beat him.
I mean, he beat him in kickboxing, right? Twice.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, he's a different animal. Like talking about his leg kicks, I was watching this interview with him. It might have been actually with Izzy because they were like at the same UFC event and they were talking how he throws his leg kicks, and a lot of people hit him with like the front or like the top, like the upper of your foot. This guy hits him with like the little bunion that he has, and he kind of swings him around and hits him like from the back.
Mm,
So that's pretty crazy. And the guy's just built different.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's scary.
yeah. Really funny too.
Yeah.
Like,
Drama.
yeah, yeah. Do you believe any of that like black magic stuff that they talk about him?
I'm not really superstitious. It's fun to think about it though.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't
You?
know. No, I don't think so. I think maybe like it psychologically, maybe it helps him.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't believe in the paranormal stuff like that. Well, yeah, you never know.
I love how he made trauma a phrase now.
Doesn't it mean just like yeah or something
I don't
like
even
that?
know what it means.
I think it just means like yeah or something like that. But yeah, I'm excited. Unfortunately I'm not gonna see it live. I'm gonna be helping out a homie. We're gonna do a music video, so I'd be
Nice.
out there. I might try to stream it on my phone or something, but probably be too busy.
I always forget to not look at my phone because you pull out your phone and you instinctually like tap on Instagram or something.
Hmm.
But if it's on Saturday nights and I'm purposely avoiding the fight because like I'm busy doing something else,
Yeah,
I've spoiled so many fights for myself because I just instinctually do that. It's like, damn, and now I saw who won when
yeah.
I was planning to go home and just play it from the beginning.
Especially I don't know like if you follow a lot of MMA pages, but I follow quite a bit, and yeah, that's always like they're trying to race to see who gets the news first. But yeah, I'm excited. Um, I would want to go see a live UFC event. I want to go to like a Vegas maybe. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see
me
how we
too.
go.
That's my dream, dude. And I never really planned on it until I got into medical school.
Hmm.
It's like because I don't deserve it. It's like a weird mentality thing that I had because it's something I've always wanted to go to a live event, but like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it until I get this. So now I can go. I just need to pick a date.
Any particular fighter that you would want to see?
Um, Not really. Let's see. I mean, the Budia would be really dope.
Oh, yeah.
But any of the lightweight guys, I feel like the top 10 in lightweight, you can't go wrong. They'll always deliver a really good fight.
Oh, I died. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to wrap up now. Since are they all dead or just that one? All right. Well, we'll wrap up this episode. Ramon, thank you so much for doing this with us and giving us some insight to Glias.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Sorry to the listeners if my thinking wasn't linear and if it didn't make sense a lot of times, but we're learning and it's early.
It is really early, man. The coffee barely like kicked in for me. Now I feel like super.
Like now we can work.
Yeah, now we can work. But thank you so much, man.
Yep.
Thank you everybody for listening. Give us some feedback, comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. Let's make it happen. So thank you guys.